hemisphere from our vantage point.
Well, but if they lived there all their lives, that's what they're used to. They wouldn't know any different.
Yes, that's right. And I tried to figure that out, like, especially in the southern hemisphere, how they could relate to Christmas in summertime. You know, I mean, that's just really weird because, of course, in the southern hemisphere, December is the start of summer.
I know. I never understood it either.
When I had to call in to AT&T to set up the stuff to trade these two phones, and the guy that answered the phone was somewhere in Africa facing the Indian Ocean, and he said, "Well, we've never seen snow ever."
So overall, you're satisfied with the phone?
Well, I mean, it's better than what I had, but there's some things I'm not happy about. Like, there's no headphone jack, and there's no spot to put an SD card in there anymore. So it's basically an iPhone.
What, they want you to store everything on the cloud, or what?
Yeah, well, I got the bigger version on purpose for that reason, so I might be okay. 256 gigabytes, but the operating system all by itself takes up 40, and this is a brand new phone, so I'd imagine that as things go along and the updates keep coming in like they do, it'll get worse and worse.
Tell me again the name of the phone?
Oh, it's the Samsung Galaxy S23.
The Galaxy S23, okay.
There's three of them. There's this one has the 6.1 inch screen, and then there's the Plus, and then there's the Ultra. And I did get to play around with the Ultra, and that one has, check this out, a 200 megapixel camera.
200 megapixels.
Yeah, I don't even know what do you do with that. Look at the fibers in the carpet, because that's what I did with it, and I thought, wow, this is pretty crazy. But see, this is what I wonder. So, these cameras, they don't have, mechanical shutter. They don't have, optional lenses and stuff. So maybe that's why they do the high megapixel count versus, like a DSLR camera.
They don't have a shutter?
No, there's no mechanical shutter. I don't know. It's all done digitally, I guess. It's just a photo sensor, I mean, I don't know exactly how it works, but there's the CMOS sensors, and then there's a different other type, and I think everything is CMOS now. Basically, a piece of silicone that registers photons hitting it.
Is there any way on your new phone or camera to do editing of your photo after you take it?
Yeah, my old one had that too.
You could crop or, maybe change the saturation or something like that?
Yeah. So this one here has Pro mode also, and Pro video mode, so you can change your ISO and some other stuff. The other one, you weren't able to change the f-stop, but you were able to change the ISO and the exposure time.
But I'm talking about doing, something to the photo after you take it. That's what I call Photoshop editing in the camera.
Yes, there is. And a lot of times, so what I do is I will take a bunch of pictures and trim them and do whatever. You can, there's a bunch of editing stuff you can do if you're like trying to get like rid of red eye or this or that, or and then you can like put text on top of the pictures if you want to, move it around. You do have different effects. But what I usually do is I'll take a bunch of pictures and then I'll create a movie out of them. So like I've got a bunch of pictures of stuff that I've taken a picture of or somewhere I've been, so it kind of ends up looking like a time lapse. But you can definitely like take a picture and try and bring out the highlights and or darken it or do whatever. And there's different filters.
Advantage is that you have the cell phone with you all the time. So that means you have a camera with you all the time. And a lot of times people don't carry their cameras with them. And what good is it if you have the super duper expensive camera but it's not with you? Because you didn't want to take it or something because you didn't want to lug it around. But then nobody minds carrying their cell phone around with them, so you have a camera wherever you go.
Yep, that's true. I grab my camera every time I go anywhere now, but that's just because I've gotten a little bit more serious about stuff. And as I get bored with it, it might sit for a year, without being touched. That's how sad it is. So I had started out with a T6 Canon Rebel back in 2021. I used it for about a year, and then it sat. And then after about a year, I got the T7. I used it for a couple of months, and it sat until about 2 months ago.
Just superficially, what will the T7 do that the T2 will not?
The T6 and the T7 are separated by a couple of years, so 2017 and 2019. They, I can't tell any difference between them. One's 24 megapixel and one's 18. They both have the same stuff on them. The same. I think maybe the 7 might have a better processor to process images, but everything else is exactly the same. So technically, there's just a little bit more resolution there. And of course, I prefer the camera from 2009 that's 18 megapixel to all of them.
I guess that it's called a point and shoot camera, but I'm not sure that that's the right terminology. But it has a fixed zoom lens on it. It goes from, I think, 25 to 500 or something crazy like that, maybe 600.
Yeah, that's a point and shoot. So, if you have a new phone, I don't think those have any kind of advantage over a new phone. I mean, one of the reasons that I think that the DSLR cameras are valid is just because you can change the lenses and you can, I can see the difference between, different types of lenses as far as the quality. But you just have more control over things. But with these new phones, there's a lot of control, but a lot of it goes into it is the software. But I would say that if I was going to get a new camera, I'd be going for a mirrorless Sony or a mirrorless Canon with interchangeable lenses. So if you get bored, go look up, the mirrorless DSLR cameras, and maybe even look at like Best Buy's website. My favorite one to look at is B&H Photo. That's that famous photo place in New York, and they sell tons of stuff. But yeah, mirrorless is the way to go because you don't have the mirror flipping up and down every time you want to look in the viewfinder. So another thing too is the mirror having to flip up and down limits how many frames per second a camera can shoot because the mirror is in the way.
You talking about B&H photo?
Yep. They're awesome. Telescopes, cameras, you name it. I forget what the popular Canon camera is. It's something like an M50 or something. And it's a smaller DSLR camera. It's mirrorless, and it's got its own series of lenses. But it comes with a, like, I don't know, maybe an 18 to 80 millimeter lens, which is perfectly fine for anything, and really nice, wide angle pictures. And I think it's got like some 34 megapixel sensor or something in it. Everybody's switching to mirrorless, and that just seems to be the trend. In fact, Canon and Nikon have both discontinued producing any new cameras that use the mirror. So all the old Nikon lenses and all the old Canon lenses are no longer compatible, but they do sell adapters to make them work with their new mirrorless cameras. So the Canon has switched to the full-size R series. That M50 is a small, compact one, and it doesn't use the same type of lenses as the new R series. Then Sony and Nikon both have full-size cameras that are mirrorless, and if you want to run their old lenses, you need a special adapter. I remember going to the Grand Canyon trying to take pictures. Boy, talk about being frustrated.
I told you I took a one day, it was actually a 2-hour course on taking pictures at the Grand Canyon. And the guy said, I'll tell you, he said there's a secret to taking good pictures in the canyon. And it's two words. Can you guess what they are? And this is the secret. That once you hear these 2 words, you'll always do well in taking pictures at the Grand Canyon.
Wide angle.
No.
I don't know, but that was what I felt was crappy. Was I had a point and shoot Nikon camera, and I had I think a Samsung Galaxy S4, and I'm like, I just want to take a picture of what I can see, and it's just such a narrow field of view with the cameras.
Anyway, the secret to taking good pictures of the Grand Canyon in 2 words: sunrise, sunset.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. I mean, I think it looks great either way. But I took a bunch of sunrise and sunset pictures in 2015, and they did look really good.
Well, he was talking sunrise, like if you're there, getting there at 6 o'clock in the morning or something, he's talking about getting there real early, not like 8 o'clock,
Oh no, I was there taking pictures as the sun was coming up. I camped out there. I operated on the radio in the parking lot by the watchtower, and I was getting QSL cards a couple years later.
That's over by the desert tower at the east side of the canyon?
Yep. So I operated 40 meters mobile in that parking lot area with some ham sticks for a couple of hours, and then went to sleep, got up before sunrise, and got out there and took a whole bunch of pictures from that area, and it is absolutely beautiful.
Well, that's one of the most pretty views anyway, right down there by that watchtower.
And that's why I stopped there, because it was like I went from the other direction, and I was taking pictures as it was starting to get towards sunset, and I ended up stopping there. And I figured, well, you know what? I'll set up the ham sticks on the back of the car here and operate on 40 meters, and and then go to sleep and get up in the morning.
I got to take a break. Go carry on, guys.